Hey Sioux Falls, time for another street construction update. And we are up in the northeast part of the city on my favorite project, Veterans Parkway. Stay tuned. All right, we finally have what resembles a bridge up on Veterans Parkway over the Big Sioux River. We welcome to the show a new DOT employee to the Sioux Falls area, Harry Johnston, who's our area engineer, correct?
Correct, yes.
And you took whose position?
Travis Dressen.
Oh, Travis was a favorite of ours.
Yes, he moved up to the Mitchell Region Engineers.
Okay, very good. So he's still in our area, just going to
Correct.
go to Mitchell. All right, so Harry, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I grew up in central Nebraska and relocated to Rapid City, South Dakota to go to college at the School of Mines.
Okay, I'll forgive you for that.
Okay, I've gotten a few, I don't know, heckling because of it, but after college and even during college, I worked for the DOT in Custer and Rapid City areas. And then there was a opportunity for advancement here in Sioux Falls, and so I came east.
Awesome. So we certainly, both sides of the state have our own challenges, don't they?
Yes, of course. We deal a lot more with kind of winter scenarios over there, the bike rally, a lot of tourism and that sort of thing. A little more summer type blow-ups and stuff over here, a lot more traffic, so definitely its own challenges.
Oh, wonderful. So all settled into our Veterans Parkway project.
Yes.
Have you worked on a project like this before?
Not quite of this magnitude. Rapid City's a little smaller. I have done a couple of larger bridge projects outside the Rapid City area, but yes, have been involved in quite a few structures projects.
Okay. So the last time we were out with Travis, I think was about in June, they hadn't set any berm beams or girders yet. So there's been a lot going on.
Yes.
So tell our viewers how the progress is moving.
Well, to date, on this structure, there are 99 steel girders.
Okay.
They're made here at Edgar Steel, and they were made quite a while ago. We had some issues with weather last year.
Right.
So we're a little behind on that schedule. The way it's working right now, we are progressing quite well. Then the contractor will start decking the bridge and just keep moving forward from there.
So we could see an actual deck by early August, do you think?
So they will actually start on the northbound structure first.
Okay.
That is the wider one, the one that goes towards the interstate.
Okay.
It has a bike path on the one side, so it looks a little wider. They're going to start on the northbound one first and work through pouring that, 3 to 4 deck pours, just kind of depending on weather. There could possibly be one of the decks poured out by middle to end of October, and then the southbound deck will follow.
Okay. So with, kind of comparing this structure to 26th and Southeastern, those deck pours, that's a pretty big deal.
Yes. So fairly similar in, kind of the structured deck pour and everything's kind of set up the same way with all the steel and the concrete pumps and everything that way. But this one's a little different because it's actually 2 completely separate structures. That one was done half at a time, but it's all one structure when we're done.
Right. So Travis had mentioned that this is one of the longest bridges. So do you remember how long it was?
I want to say this one's like 800 and some feet. I'm not 100%
it's close to
sure.
1,000.
Yeah, it's quite it's a large span where it does span both the river and the railroad.
Okay. So traffic changes to the area. I think the only change that's been different is 60th Street North. Is that right?
Correct. So 60th Street North to the interstate is now open.
Okay.
So the traffic can maneuver as normal with the new lights and stuff that are up there. The electricians are still working through some of the lighting of the intersections and stuff like that as that progresses.
But Redwood Boulevard, which goes towards Brandon, is that open too?
So that is substantially complete. The railroad is finishing up their crossing, and we've worked
Okay.
with the county, and they've asked us just to keep that section closed until the railroad finishes their crossing there.
Okay. So virtually everything is done except for the bridges then.
Correct, yes. So yes, from Rice Street north to 60th Street essentially is the only segment left.
Okay. So the big question I asked Travis last time was, do we still think we're going to be open by Christmas time?
I would like to say yes. A lot of
Okay.
it is dependent, of course, on how the weather holds out for us the rest of the summer and then into the fall. But as far as I can see, I'm going to cross my fingers, and I think we should be.
Yeah. So these beams went up really fast. I mean, those
Yes.
are they 8 foot tall, 7 foot tall?
I think they're an 8-foot beam. They're pretty heavy, and as you can see, we've got quite a large crane here you can see it from the interstate, so you know it sticks up in the air quite a ways.
Right. So these guys that are working, they're a specialized crew that know exactly what they're doing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the bridge contractor, Lunda, they do specifically bridges, and they have kind of their specific crews for setting their beams, and then they'll have a separate crew for decking the bridge and another crew for doing the steel. So they're very specialized in what they do.
Awesome. Well, that's a little too high for me.
Right. It's a long ways up in the air, yes.
Well, great. So thank you so much, and we're definitely going to come back when we're starting to pour that deck.
All right.
Thanks so much
Sounds
for your
great.
time.
Thank you.
Hey, downtown. We are at 8th Street and Phillips Avenue with our 8th Street Bridge rehabilitation. Dina, there's a lot of noise behind us, and it looks like there's a lot of activity. What are we working on?
Yes, so we have completed all of the removals of the upper bridge deck.
Okay.
We've installed the waterproofing membrane, and now we're filling the granular material back into the bridge deck.
So if our viewers remember, the last time we were out here that we saw each one of the humps of the bridge. So now that's going to be filled with gravel to make it look smooth?
Yep.
Oh,
and then
wonderful.
we will build our road section on top of that. So then there will be an aggregate base section and then a concrete section.
And so we removed all of that gravel early on in the summer, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So very unique. It's just that's the way they did the bridges back in the early 1900s?
Yes. This bridge, being that it's a Luton Arch bridge, it was specifically designed that way. It was actually a patented design to do it that way. So it worked great for 100 years, so we're just going to clean up the fresh material in and build it back.
So has there been any concern from the contractor's standpoint about the stability or the strength of the bridge through any of this project?
No. The bridge, actually, we had a certain percentage of removals that we thought the concrete was going to be bad, and we didn't even come close to that. The bridge is in excellent condition, so we can't complain.
And the rainfall certainly has helped. We haven't had much rain at all.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the lack of rainfall has been excellent for us, both on the surface and the river elevations. We haven't had to battle any of that.
Okay. So once we get the gravel on top, then does that also go underneath like where the sidewalks are at?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. The gravel will be the complete width of the bridge, yes.
And then we pour the concrete on top of that?
Yep.
Wow, okay. So then what's happening underneath the bridge then?
So we've completed most of the hand removals underneath the bridge, and now we're spraying on, it's called shotcrete, but it's actually kind of almost a liquid concrete. We spray that back in, and then we trowel it, we flatten it back out to give that finished look.
So then is that the ultimate finish?
That would be the ultimate finished look, yes.
So we won't color that concrete at all, we'll just leave it that natural color?
We will probably end up putting a paint on it.
Okay.
Just the color differences between the old original concrete look and the new concrete, there's color differences, so we're just going to give it a fresh look.
Okay. So we designed and preliminary designed this bridge for at least 3 years before. Has there been anything that has been a surprise to the designers on this project?
There really hasn't.
Oh, great.
I think we looked and examined every aspect, and so far to date, nothing has surprised us yet. So we fingers crossed it continues that way through the rest.
So maybe the surprise has been that there hasn't nothing surprised us.
Man, I hope so.
So as far as impacts to bike trail and to traffic, still no change. We're still detouring the bike trail around, and then as far as completion goes, what do you think right now?
We're still on schedule for completion to have it open to traffic this fall.
Okay.
And as for the bike detour route, yes, the trail underneath the bridge is still closed. However, we have simplified, now that the construction on Reed Street is complete, we've simplified that trail over there. So hopefully much easier for people to follow.
Okay. Is there anything that I'm forgetting to ask you about this project? I'm sure is there anything else that you want to tell our viewers?
Probably the biggest thing that the people passing by will see was probably in the next couple of weeks, we'll start seeing the above ground utilities being placed back in the bridge deck. So this wonderful span bridge that we have for our private utilities, that will start going away in the next couple weeks.
So they'll just start lowering it?
Yep, they'll start lowering it and putting it into the bridge, and then we'll build the bridge deck over top of it.
So that'll be a sight to see then.
It will.
Awesome. Well, we'll definitely be back to take a look at that.
Yes.
All right, well, we're going to go to 26 and Southeastern next. You're going to meet us over there?
Yes.
All right, great.
Thank you.
All right, we are at 26th and Southeastern, and boy, oh boy, you are definitely raising the road. So it looks a lot different. We haven't been out here for probably 3 weeks or so, but the embankment for the Southeastern and the North leg is certainly getting up there. How close are we to the final grade?
We are very close, actually. We've got probably a week or so left on the wall height.
Okay.
On the wall on the west side of Southeastern. So yeah, we're actually pretty close to what the final height will be.
So, and then is this the last wall?
So there'll be another wall that'll be on the east side of Southeastern Avenue. Obviously it won't be as tall because we're not coming from down by the railroad tracks.
Right.
But yeah, we have about 2 weeks worth of wall work on that side. And then we will be really close to at grade at that point.
Wonderful. So are they all of the water and sewer, are those pipes all in the ground then already?
We do have some utility work that has yet to be done on Southeastern Avenue.
Okay.
We have to wait for the grade to get more of a permanent grade level before we start installing the utilities. Otherwise, the utilities get so deep that it's hard for maintenance in the future.
Okay, so is there any concern about settlement at all on this grade? I mean, it's pretty dry. Does it settle and compact really good?
We have compaction specifications that we monitor very closely throughout. So as the contractor places the material, we monitor that as it goes up to minimize that.
So then behind us, of course, Southeastern all the way up to River Boulevard is still closed to through traffic. So are all of the storm drainage pipes in along Southeastern, or is it still work going on Southeastern?
Yes, there's still work going on. We've got probably about a good week left of storm sewer work.
Okay.
All of the water main and sanitary sewer work is, for the most part, completed. But yeah, we've got about 1 week of storm sewer left, and then at that point we can start placing the grade for those northbound lanes.
So is anything paved along Southeastern?
We have the 2 southbound lanes paved already,
Okay.
and that's what the local traffic has been using. So the northbound lanes are still torn apart.
So is it likely that Southeastern on that north leg will be open to traffic before 26th and Southeastern will be?
Yes, absolutely it will. Yep.
Okay, so then let's talk about the bridge for a little bit. So if you haven't driven through the area, there's already bridge piers already starting to go in and piles being driven. So are they halfway through the bridge improvements, or they still got a lot to go?
We still have quite a bit to go. However, the contractor is moving at a pretty steady pace.
Okay.
We have Pier 5 has been poured. The piling for abutment 6 is completed. So now we're working on the cofferdams for Piers 2 and 3.
And that's right underneath where a lot of people can't even see.
Right,
that.
yeah, you're not going to be able to see it as you cross over.
Okay, but the bike trail impacts are still the same as they have been throughout the entire project, right?
Right, yep, the box culvert that people have been driving through will maintain as it is. Later this summer, maybe early fall, is when we would make changes to that. We'd actually be extending the box culvert, just to protect the pedestrians from both sides of the bridge at that point. But for a while, it'll be the same.
Oh, interesting. So I do want to remind our viewers that if they haven't driven through the area and want to see what's going on, we have video cameras, right, on our website, right?
Right, yes.
And so we have 3 different locations where they can actually see what's going on construction. So that's really neat for them to see, what happens on a day-to-day basis.
Yes, yep.
All right, well, so no major changes to the site. And I'm going to ask again, is it going to be open by Christmas or not?
We're working very closely with the contractor for scheduling. It's looking like that we will have full functionality of Southeastern Avenue at 26th Street completed. The bridge over the Big Sioux River, that is still up in the air of whether, depending on what our fall and winter look like, that's still up in the air yet.
Okay.
But basically anything outside of the Big Sioux River Bridge, our intent is to have it completed.
All right, well, that's still good news, kind of.
Yes.
All right, well, thank you so much for your update.
Thank you.
Well, we are nearby 26th and Southeastern. Behind us, we are at Cleveland and 26th Street, and there is a big hole that we're digging. Andy Berg from our environmental division was previously our drainage engineer. So Andy, what are we doing along this drainage way?
Well, we're adding capacity to the system. We've got areas that aren't meeting design standards, so we're adding additional piping, detention, and then some additional piping to get that water adequately out to the river.
So I used to live in this area, and this used to just be all trees. So you had no idea that there was a nice little stream going through it.
Right. And
And this stream must be a lot of water then.
yeah, the existing pipe is an 84-inch pipe, which is very large, obviously, and that pushed a lot of water through this area, which was great, but it wasn't quite enough. The treat area you mentioned, detention was a great option in this area. Unfortunately, we had to lose some trees, but we still left quite a few, and the ability to add detention in an existing area of town is not always that easy, so this is a great opportunity for us to add that to the system and help avoid flooding upstream and or downstream in this area.
Okay, so I'm going to take you back a little bit, probably almost 15 years back to 2004. So this was an area when we had all of those rain events in May and June. This 26 in Cleveland was kind of a bad hit area, wasn't it?
Right, yeah, that 84-inch pipe I mentioned, it actually failed. It had created a large sinkhole on the east side of Cleveland right behind us here. It was a pretty catastrophic failure. Thankfully, it didn't affect our road, the Cleveland Avenue itself, but did affect some private property in the area. And so that failure was one of our first indications that this system wasn't meeting our design standards.
Okay, great. So with this project, we won't have any closures of Cleveland, right?
Right.
Okay.
The pipe, we're adding a 48-inch diameter pipe under Cleveland Avenue, but we bored that underneath with a steel pipe, mainly because Cleveland Avenue is one of our primary detour routes while the 26 and Southeastern project's going. So we bored the 48-inch pipe under there to supplement the 84-inch pipe that flows under there right now.
Okay.
And then that will flow into this detention pond, and then there are also some upsizing downstream as well that Aaron will speak to.
Okay, well we're gonna put our new drainage engineer on camera here in a little bit. Thanks so much for your time.
No problem, thanks.
All right, we welcome to the show Aaron, who's our principal drainage engineer. Aaron, welcome.
Thanks, Shannon.
All right, so we talked a little bit to Andy about what the scope of this project is. Tell us a little bit about what we're doing on this stream from Cleveland down to Southeastern.
Sure. So Andy touched on the boring under Cleveland Avenue. Downstream, there's an actual stream here with a base flow, water constantly running through it.
Okay.
We'll be building an extended detention pond, which is basically a water quality treatment as well as a detention treatment to hold the floodwaters back when there is a large event. It's designed to drain down over 40 hours.
Okay. And so it'll actually clean the runoff before it gets to the river.
Right,
then.
right.
So that's
the
great.
intent.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's a wonderful addition as far as rather than all the garbage and stuff that goes into the river. So will it have a pipe all the way down to Southeastern?
Nope. There's a pipe at Cleveland. It'll continue by open channel, a drainage way between Cleveland and Southeastern. Then at Southeastern, we'll be installing a dual 10x5 box culvert. So quite a bit of capacity for the crossing at Southeastern. And then downstream from the road, there's the railroad, of course. So we'll also be boring a new pipe underneath the railroad to complete the drainage improvements.
So this was really a great opportunity to coordinate projects. I mean, drainage project along with the street project. Does that happen a lot for the city?
No, that doesn't happen a lot.
So it was just by, it was kind of a coincidence, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was great that we could team up with the DOT on the interchange project.
All right. So as far as other impacts to the surrounding adjacent property owners, they just have a little dust, basically.
Yeah, dust, and then as Andy touched on, the trees were cleared out, and the pond will remain that way. We don't like the vegetation growing in the pond because that affects how it flows, how the water is conveyed through the area. So.
All right, so this is a really unique project in addition to the 26th and Southeastern. Thanks so much and welcome to the city.
Thanks, Shannon.
Well, there you have it, Sioux Falls. We've got a lot going on right now in the middle of the summer, and we have a lot to get done before the snow flies. To keep up on all of our construction projects, please visit siouxfalls.org or visit #SFStreetCred for your latest updates. That's a wrap.
The City of Sioux Falls has an easy way for you to help your community. Simply download the City of Sioux Falls mobile app. The app can be used to ask a question or to report a variety of nuisances like potholes, graffiti, streetlights not working, abandoned vehicles, and more. You can even upload a photo with your report. Every report is immediately routed to the appropriate team so they can quickly respond. In addition to tracking your reports, the app allows you to view reports submitted by other users and learn when they've been resolved. Go to the App Store or Google Play stores and download the City of Sioux Falls app today.